the right of displaced Cambodians to return home, Thailand's humanitarian responsibility. Phnom Penh, August 20th, 2026. The Cambodia-Thailand border issue is not simply a matter of boundary markers, lines on maps, or territorial sovereignty. Behind the long-standing dispute are the lives of civilians whose homes, farmland, schools, pagodas, health centers, and communities have been deeply affected by the armed conflict of 2025. For displaced Cambodian families, the most important question is straightforward. When can they safely return home? The article argues that the border conflict must also be viewed through a humanitarian and human rights lens. It says military operations along Cambodia's borders with Thailand in 2025 caused civilian casualties, damaged homes and infrastructure, and displaced around 650,000 people at the height of the crisis. It stresses that allegations of violations of international humanitarian law should not disappear simply because a ceasefire has been reached. Any reported attacks affecting civilians or civilian facilities should be carefully documented, verified, and assessed based on evidence, witnesses, and credible reports. The article further points to the December 27, 2025 ceasefire arrangements, which call for affected civilians to be able to return to their homes safely, without obstruction and with dignity. However, it says that months after the ceasefire, tens of thousands of Cambodians remain unable to return to their homes and livelihoods. The presence of barbed wire, containers, trenches, and other barriers, according to the article, raises not only questions of sovereignty, but also concerns about civilians' ability to access their homes, farmland, and livelihoods. During his visit to Cambodia in July 2026, UN Special Rapporteur Tom Andrews reportedly highlighted the importance of allowing displaced people to return home safely. The article presents this as evidence that return and resettlement are fundamentally humanitarian issues involving rights, safety, and human dignity, rather than merely political questions between two governments. It also argues that a genuine return must go beyond simply removing physical barriers. Displaced families must be able to live safely in their homes, cultivate their land, send their children to school, and rebuild their livelihoods without fear of being displaced again. The article concludes that a ceasefire alone does not constitute lasting peace. True peace should be measured by whether civilians can return home safely, whether communities can rebuild their lives, and whether alleged violations of international law are properly investigated and addressed. It also maintains that physical control of territory through military force cannot by itself create lawful sovereignty. Border disputes, it argues, should be resolved through international law, existing border documents, and peaceful mechanisms, rather than by creating new realities on the ground through force.